Hello, my name is Ed Frawley. I own Leerburg Video. This talk is a course overview on what we cover in our online basic dog obedience course. The course is divided into 5 weeks. In week 1, and I'm going to go through each of these 5 weeks and cover the segments that we put into these weeks, it'll give you a better idea of what's in the course. In week 1, we're going to start off by talking about what our philosophy is on how to train a dog. This is a philosophy that's been developed over 50 years of dog training. I'm 66 years old, got interested in training dogs when I was 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. In the second part, segment 2 of week 1, we're going to talk about the difference between managing your dog, basically living with your dog, between basic dog obedience, and between socializing your dogs. 3 key important elements that are different, and as a general rule, pet owners don't understand the difference, and they've been given a lot of old wives' tales about how to raise a dog, how to train a dog. We kind of clear the air there so you get a better idea of what direction you should be going in. In the third segment of the first week, we're going to talk about terminology. The reason that's important is there's an old saying that the only thing that 2 dog trainers can agree on is that they don't agree with what the third dog trainer's doing to his dog over there. And that's kind of the truth. So I don't have a large section on terminology. What I am going to do is talk about the terms that you're going to hear a lot of in this course. We're going to explain what we mean by these. After the segment on terminology, we have a section where we're going to explain the different types of training systems that there are out there. We're going to talk about avoidance training, punishment-based training. We're going to talk about clicker training. We're going to talk about people that train 100% motivationally. And then we're going to talk about reward-based training, which is what this course is all about. I believe it's important that the people that are learning how to train dogs should have an understanding of the different kinds of training systems there are, and then why we choose to use the ones that we do, which is based on a lot of years of experience. In the 4th segment of the first week, I'm going to have a section on training equipment. When I started producing dog training videos back in 1982, I always used to put the training equipment right at the front because I think it's important. Some people would look at it like, oh, it's just commercials for the stuff you're trying to sell. Well, I really never started selling a lot of products until the early 1990s. But the way I look at the equipment issue is a lot of people come to us to learn how to train their dogs. They don't know what's a good leash and a bad leash. They don't know whether they should use a harness or whether they shouldn't use a harness. There's a lot of questions that go into what training equipment to use, and there's a lot of different qualities out there. One of the ways that from the very beginning when I started to sell stuff, I made up my mind, we're not going to sell cheap equipment. We're only going to sell the best dog training equipment we can find. We're going to tell people what that is and then let them go out and make up their own mind. I think that's important. And then the last segment in the first week, there's a talk on pack structure. Within that segment, I'm going to give the people that take the course the ability to stream the 4-hour or 3.5-hour DVD that I produced titled Establishing Pack Structure with the Family Pet. It's there for them to watch if they want. Establishing pack structure falls more in line with management than it does with basic dog obedience, but it's there for the people that want to watch it. In week 2, we're going to get involved and start off segment 1 with marker training. Marker training is the core of what this whole course is built on. So the first segment explains what marker training is, how you do it, why it's important, and why it works. That's the key to our training system. In the second segment of week 2, we're going to talk about food rewards. We're going to talk about how to determine what your dog's high-value food reward is. Every dog has a different opinion of food rewards. So like when people come to us and they say, well, what should I use for a high-value food reward? We can't tell you that. We're going to teach you how to figure out what your dog's high-value food reward is. Some dogs might like a piece of cheese, some dogs might like a little piece of meat. But we're going to go through that whole thing. We're also going to talk about some people have dogs that when they hand their dog a piece of food, the dog's very aggressive, snappy in how they take it. And quite often it can mean getting bit by your fingers. We're going to show you how to deliver food without getting hurt. When we talk about training dogs with food, the question for new dog trainers is always going to come up that their neighbor said, why would you train with food? Because it's only a matter of time before you're not going to have a food reward when you need your dog to do something. Well, we're going to explain to you the concept of how to use food. We're also going to explain to you the concept of how to get off of using food. In other words, how to wean our dogs off of food. Then, after we go into that, we're going to have a segment on what we call charging the mark, putting value to a mark. And by that point, you're going to know what marker training is, you're going to know what a mark is. We're going to show you how to mark a behavior and how to teach a dog that there's a value to the mark when you use it. We're going to have a segment on engagement. Engagement simply means that your dog is focused on you and he wants to be with you. When someone that's not a dog trainer sees a dog that is engaged with his handler, they look at it like, oh, look at that dog. He wants to play with that guy. That's engagement. That's the core. Marker training and engagement are the core of our training system. Marker training and engagement are something that you will use for the rest of your life, training every behavior that you want to train. So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that. Then we're going to have a segment on impulse control. Impulse control is just where we teach a dog to go from an active state of excitement to a calm state, and we put it on cue and we make it into a behavior so that they get their reward. The next segment in week 2 is I talk to you about how you can form your own training program based on your dog's drive, your dog's temperament, your dog's genetics. No one can give you a training program for you and your dog unless they work with you every day and they know your dog and they know your skills as a dog trainer. I'm going to give you the skill that you can sit down, think about a training program for yourself and your dog, and put it together. At the end of week 2, we're going to stream the 4-hour or 3.5-hour DVD that I did titled The Power of Training Dogs with Markers. It's there for you to, we sell it as a DVD. It'll be part of this training course. In week 3, we're going to open week 3 with a segment on the difference between a lure and a gesture and adding a command to a behavior. And a behavior would be sit, down, come, walk on a leash. So we're going to explain the relationship between lures, gestures, and commands and how they fit into a training program. We're going to show you how to lure a dog. We're going to teach you gestures. And in week 3, the second segment will be to teach your dog the behavior of look. When we give them a look command, we want them to look into our face. We're going to show you how to do that. In the next segment after that, in week 3, we're going to talk about how to teach a hand touch. And what is a hand touch? We hold our hand out and we say touch or nose or any command you want. Hold your hand out, you say touch, and your dog has to come up, put his nose into your hand. And we're going to explain how we use look and hand touch when we're on walks and the dogs are faced with distractions. And the fourth segment of week 3, we're going to teach you how to train your dog to sitting down. When we go into week 4, we're going to start off with what we call touch pads. Touch pads are when we take an item and put it on the ground and we tell our dog to touch it, he goes over and puts his front feet on it. We're going to explain how we start with touch pads and teach the dog to go from there through training steps into go get in your bed in the house or go get in your dog crate. In other words, we're going to go from touch pads to what we call place. That's an important behavior to train your dog that he can use when guests come over anytime you want. The second segment of week 4 is basic recalls. The third segment is teaching your dog to walk on a leash. Now, there's 3 types of walking that we're going to cover, at least identify in this course. The first one is formal competitive heeling. We're going to show you what it is because a lot of pet owners, when they start to get a dog, they expect their dog to heel. And formal competitive heeling is your dog walks on your left side with his shoulder by your knee looking up in your face. That's an unrealistic expectation for taking your dog out, a pet dog out, for a walk. We're not going to train that, but we're going to show it to you so you understand what it is. Within this training course, we're going to teach loose leash walking. And basically that means we take our dog out and it's his responsibility to keep the leash loose. We're going to show you how to stop a dog from pulling. We're also going to teach what we call controlled walking. And controlled walking is similar to, but not the same as formal competitive heeling. In controlled walking, we want our dog to walk by our side and lean into our leg. Where would we use that? When we're on a bike trail, we have a very good bike trail, Cindy and I walk on it all the time. If there's another person coming and we have a reactive dog, or if there's another person coming that has another dog, we want controlled walking. We want our dog to walk next to us, to ignore the people that are going to go by us, and I want them to have contact with my legs so I know where they are. It gives them a physical target, a physical thing for them to do when they're faced with distractions while we're out on a walk. And then once we're past whatever the distraction is, could be a dog behind a fence in a yard, we'll use controlled walking when we go by there, and then we release the dog into loose leash walking. And then we're going to go on into week 4. In week 4, segment 1, we're going to cover the difference between avoidance training and corrections that are given in our training program. We train in a reward-based training program, which means dogs go through a learning phase. It's totally trained with motivational methods through marker training. There is a difference between avoidance training or punishment-based training and giving a correction in a reward-based training program. And we're going to go into that and cover it in detail. In the second segment of week 4, I'm going to talk about the difference between stressors and distractions. In the third section of week 4, I'm going to talk about corrections with dogs. Now, we train our dogs in a reward-based training system. That's a motivational method of training dogs, a reward-based training system. But it's our feeling that we don't give a dog a correction unless that dog 110% knows the meaning of what we're asking him to do, but he refuses to do it. Our position is that 99.9999% of the dogs out there can go through basic obedience. They can learn commands for a food reward or a toy reward or praise from the handler. And it's only a matter of time before whatever the distraction is that that dog encounters is going to be a time when that dog is more interested in that distraction than it is in the food reward, in the toy reward, or in praise from the handler. And at that point, we have to correct the dog. and make him do what he 100% knows how to do. Now, in this section on corrections, we're going to explain to you that a correction for one dog could be withholding a food reward. A correction for a dog could be simply turning your back away from him for a minute. A correction for a puppy could be putting him in a dog crate for 20 seconds. A correction for a very hard, strong-willed dog may have to be a pretty stiff correction with a prong collar. And we're going to go through a lot in the correction phase of this so that you understand different levels of correction, different methods of training and understanding so that you know when to correct, why to correct, how to correct, and what method of correction changes behavior the best. The key to corrections is the only reason to give a dog a correction is to change the dog's behavior. It's not to punish the dog, and it's not to make the handler feel good because he just solved a problem that he was mad at with his dog. There's only one reason for a correction, and the goal of every correction is to change the behavior on the dog. And we're going to go into a lot of detail on that, and I spend a little time here in the explanation of this course because there's always going to be people out there that train or say they train 100% motivationally and they never correct their dog. And there probably are people that are like that. But I will tell you this. There are people that have only had one dog or two dogs, and there are people that are dog trainers who know how to selection test a dog that fits the criteria that they have, a very willing to please dog. And it works for those people. But those people can't train all the dogs out there like that. It's impossible. It is 100% impossible. I trained police service dogs for 25 years. You can't train a police service dog like that. You can't train 99.9999% of the pets like that. In week 5, we're going to talk about advanced training options for you. Now, this is a basic dog obedience tape, or course, pardon me. It's not an advanced course, and we're going to give you a clear idea for those people that get the bug on where do you go from here. We hope that we can teach people that it's fun to train the dog. We want to end up with a dog that challenges you to go out and train with him because he likes training. Our goal is to enjoy training. Our goal is to have a dog that loves to train with us because we're going to do fun things with him. And in the course of doing these fun things, we're going to teach him behaviors. So, we're going to tell the people that get the bug on dog training how to go into more advanced work in a step-by-step logical way of doing it. We're also going to talk about various dog sports that are available to people, and I'm going to address some question and answers that we get from emails from people. We get a lot of emails every day, and we try and answer every single one of them. We try and save the most common ones, and I'll read them and answer them on a video. So with that said, I talk a lot about what's in our online course, but there's a lot there. I'm excited about these online courses. I did my first dog training video in 1982. I bought my first video camera for myself in 1978. I bought it because I got the bug to train dogs. I went to my first dog training seminar in 1974, a seminar on Schutzen, and I got bit. And I started to go to seminars, and there was so much to learn, I couldn't remember it all. So I bought a video camera, and I went to these seminars, and I videotaped them, and I took the tapes home and studied them. I went to my first police dog seminar in 1978. And in 1982, I produced my first video because I would go to these seminars and people would say, hey, can I buy copies of those videos? Well, yeah. And one thing led to another, and by 1985, I basically had a small television studio that we were producing videotapes for. And in the beginning, it was crazy trying to produce a 2-hour videotape on a VHS tape, because you had to do your entire outline before you even started, and you had to layer it all along the whole deal, because you couldn't get an hour and a half into the production of that video, find 5 minutes and say, oh, I wish I'd have put that at the 10-minute mark. You couldn't do it. Not back then, not with the equipment that was available. And then it progressed on, and we went through Super VHS, and we went into DV tapes, then we went into DVDs, but still we're dealing with timelines. 2 hours, 4 hours, one of our tapes is 5 hours long. You know, when I produced a tape, the year or two after I produced a tape, I got new ideas that I wished were in that tape. That was crazy, because it would drive me crazy. You couldn't do it because you can't go back and completely reproduce a DVD, but with these online courses, we can keep them up to date. This course on basic dog obedience at this point in time is going to have I have about 125 short video clips in this course. They range in time from 30 seconds to 3 or 4 minutes. There's some 6 or 7 minute videos in there. Of course, there's the real long Power of Training Dogs with Markers, and the one on establishing pack structure is almost 4 hours long. But there's 125 different DVDs. And as time passes and we build these courses, the beauty of them is, if we get a new idea, we can go out there, we can do a little 5-minute video on it and go back and drop it right in the course, right where it belongs, and there it is. It's just beautiful. So this, in my opinion, 10 years from now, there won't be any DVDs out there. Everything is going to be done online. We just, in the last few weeks, took our streaming video servers and put them on 45 different servers all around the world. Where we used to have to be really concerned about people having high-speed download on their internet, now we're able to deal with very minimal internet speeds, because we can stream very low resolution copies. And when we start to stream it, our computer talks to the customer's computer, determines what their computer can handle, their internet speed can handle, and it'll quickly jump them from low resolution up to HD video if their download speed is fast enough. It's just the coolest thing in the world. So with that said, if you want to learn how to train your dog, we hope you take a look at our basic dog obedience course. One of the things, I have a pre-written little script that it's an auto text I use an awful lot, and I use it with the people that send us Q&As or questions on how to train their dogs. And it goes something like this. Everyone, you're going to find out if you're a new dog trainer, that everyone has an opinion on how to train your dog. Ask your neighbor, ask your relatives, ask your postman, ask your barber. These are all, and they all have an opinion on how to train a dog, and they're all nice people, and they're all well-intentioned people. But 99.999% of them don't have enough experience to offer good, solid advice. And that's how old wives' tales get spread around, and it affects people in how they train their dogs. So I tell people, you have to figure out who you're going to listen to and how you train your dogs. You can go to our website. It's the largest dog training website, content-wise, on the internet. There's none that I even know that are 20% as large as Leerburg. We've been producing videos since 1982. We went on the internet with our website in 1994, and we have over 700 and some free streaming videos. So I hope that's enough to convince you to come and let us show you how to train your dog. Let us show you what good dog training is, and so that maybe you'll get inspired to go on to the next level and be a dog competitor in some dog sport.